Right now, why National Guard troops could be headed to Chicago on President Trump's orders.
And it was another hot one out there across southern Wisconsin, upper 80s. We didn't squeeze out any 90s. How long the heat lasts and if there's any rain in the forecast coming up.
And a big win for the Brewers and their fans. We have full coverage of tailgates and highlights in sports. Welcome to News 3 Now at 10. And good evening and thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Armand Rahman. Jalen has the night off. Let's turn now to our first warm forecast with meteorologist Blaze Keller. Blaze, got to keep those sweaters inside packed away for a little bit longer.
Yeah, keep the shorts around, the personal fans around, the sunscreen, because it has been a hot couple of days. We're going to do it again tomorrow, but maybe not as many upper 80s tomorrow. More or less, we'll probably hang out in those mid-80s. But we near 90 today once again in the Dells, Lone Rock, Boscobel, La Crosse coming in at 89. Platteville, we got to 87 along with Monroe. Shy of tying the record. Madison, we got to 86. We're still in those mid-70s right now across southern Wisconsin. And for context, our daytime average high temperature for this time of year is the low 60s. So well above average as we continue to make our way further into your Saturday night. We will eventually cool on down as we head into next week following our next chance for rain moving in starting later Sunday and lasting through Monday. We're talking totals and just how cold we will get as we head into next week in the full forecast.
All right, Blaze, thank you. And after a week of the best team in baseball, they got their postseason started today. Sports Director Andrew Bandstra was with the Brewers at AmFam with the highlights.
Armand, talk about coming out with a bang. The question about the Brewers, at least from outside of this building, was, sure, they were the best team in baseball in the regular season, but could they prove it in the postseason? The answer we learned today at AmFam Field was an emphatic you betcha. They were firing on all cylinders against the Cubs. The Brewers batted around in the first, already leading 4-0, and a leadoff man gets on base for the second time in the frame. Make it 6-1 Brewers early, and from there it was already out of hand. The Crew take the all-important series opener, 9-3 the final. Coming up in sports, we'll take a more in-depth look into this big-time series opening win. Plus, you'll hear from Pat Murphy and the players. And, of course, we'll check in on Wisconsin football and their day in Ann Arbor. But for now, from AmFam Field, Andrew Bandstra, News 3 Sports.
Andrew, thank you. We'll check back in with you in a little bit. And meanwhile, outside the stadium, fans got ready to cheer on their favorite team at the American Family Field parking lot. Our Tanisha Shaw talked to fans to see how they're keeping AmFam tailgating traditions alive.
Go Brewers! Go Cubs, go!
Even though the Brewers and the Cubs are known for their rivalry, one thing that both of them can agree on is a great tailgate.
This is just it's a family affair, but it's also for adults as well. So it's like you can just bring anybody, even Cubs fans.
Cubs fans did end up tailgating with Brewers fans here in Milwaukee hours before first pitch Saturday, with all the essentials that you need for tailgating, like smack talk.
If they close the roof and it starts leaking like it did last time, hey, we got this.
And the Cubs fans will be sad, but we'll console them on the way home.
Food, beer.
Wisconsin people know how to do it well. Have a few beers with friends, have something to eat, head into the game and cheer for our team.
And the kindness that you can only get here in the Midwest.
Of course, we're going to root against the Cubs, but at the end of the day, they're people. We go down to their games too. We want to be treated well. We'll treat them well. You know, we're all cheering for our team. So yeah, all day long.
You're on Milwaukee's home turf right now.
Yeah,
how are you feeling?
We don't worry about them.
Angels in the outfield!
Tanisha, thank you. And a teenager is recovering after being shot during what police call a large fight in downtown Madison. Officers responded to a call of someone bleeding on the 200 block of Langdon Street late Friday night. They say multiple suspects ran from that scene. The 18-year-old victim was taken to a local hospital where they were treated and released. Meanwhile, an 18-year-old suspect was taken into custody with the assistance of the UWPD. The investigation is ongoing. Meanwhile, Madison police also investigating after a resident was awoken by gunshots last night on Madison's east side. Just before midnight in the 3300 block of Lexington Avenue, patrol vehicles blocked off roads in every direction. Police say the resident discovered a bullet had hit his house. No one inside the home was injured and no arrests have been made yet. The investigation is ongoing. If you have any information, Madison Police ask you contact them or Madison Area Crime Stoppers. And today, President Donald Trump authorized the deployment of 300 National Guard troops to Chicago. The Guard members' primary mission will be to protect federal officers and property in Chicago. The president's action comes after protesters gathered at an Immigration and Custom Enforcement facility on Friday. That demonstration led to more than a dozen arrests. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker said the Defense Department gave him an ultimatum. Either he authorized the deployment of National Guard troops or the federal government will do it. Pritzker called the Trump administration's actions outrageous and un-American. And meanwhile, a federal judge issued a temporary restraining order today that blocks the deployment of National Guard troops to Portland, Oregon. President Donald Trump ordered the troops to Portland to protect what he calls a, quote, war-ravaged city. But in court on Friday, lawyers for the state and the city argued the Trump administration's order is illegal. They called the president's portrayal of the city, quote, wildly hyperbolic. But government lawyers say the National Guard is needed to protect ICE agents carrying out their work. Protesters have gathered outside ICE facilities in Portland to demonstrate against the president's immigration policies. Judge Karen Immergut presided over Friday's hearing. She's a Trump-appointed judge. It's unclear if the Trump administration will appeal today's ruling. And the president freezing billions of dollars in federal funding for Democratic cities and states, with Chicago and New York City topping the list of targets. This as the partisan standoff over the government shutdown continues. Tom Foreman takes a look at projects on the chopping block and the ongoing pressure campaign from the White House.
In the windy city of Chicago, $2.1 billion in federal funding for transit has been blown away by the White House, according to the Illinois governor, hurting our economy and the hardworking people. In New York, $18 billion federal dollars have been frozen for transportation projects. Amid all that, President Trump posted this video, portraying his budget boss, Russell Vought, as the Grim Reaper, who, like Trump, wants to pressure Democratic lawmakers from blue strongholds to end the budget stalemate that triggered the government shutdown.
We're not going to be held hostage to these kinds of insane, ridiculous demands by the Democrats.
One of the administration's tools for removing all that money is the idea that some of it might be spent to promote race and sex-based contracting, DEI programs that the White House has forbidden. But the administration has also canceled what it calls nearly $8 billion in green news scam funding, hammering 16 states, all of which Trump lost in the last presidential race.
We're going to count on energy imports.
The Secretary of Energy suggests red states may be involved as well, and he's just saving money.
These cancellation decisions absolutely not tied to the government shutdown.
Yet hundreds of millions in disaster preparedness grants are being withheld too. The White House is demanding states recount their populations in the wake of aggressive deportations so the distributions can be adjusted. That move came just hours after a federal court put a temporary block on efforts to divert FEMA funds largely away from Democratic-led states. Speaker of the House Mike Johnson says the president just wants the government running again.
And is he trying to apply pressure to make that happen? He probably is, yeah, and I applaud that.
But Democrats say Republicans' strong-arm tactics will not work.
They need to come to the table. We can go back to the White House, or they can come up here and we can have a conversation to end this shutdown. They're hurting the American people.
And there appears to be no end in sight. Measures to fund the federal government failed to get enough votes again Friday, with lawmakers still deadlocked over enhanced Obamacare subsidies. And with the Senate not in session over the weekend, the standoff will likely extend into next week. Well, it may not feel like fall here, but you can't start the season without a fresh pumpkin. Oak Bank hosted their annual Great Pumpkin Giveaway in Fitchburg. Families could grab goodie bags, enjoy tractor draw and carriage rides, and of course, pick from the wide variety of pumpkins.
We don't want to call them ugly pumpkins. We like to call them specialty pumpkins, but those are the ones I like.
You know what? I'm all about community, and it makes me feel real good that so many people can be on such a positive, in a positive, happy space.
All cash donations collected during the event will be donated to a local charity. And today, Madison Vegan Fest returned to the city for another year of celebrating sustainable and plant-based foods. Stalls lined up Lunny Lake Farm Park from 11 to 5. With a range of vendors from local Madison eateries to ones from Milwaukee and even Chicago, attendees were able to taste a range of vegan foods. Speakers were also present to discuss the vegan diet alongside other ways of living more sustainably. And when visitors had their fill, there were other exhibitors on hand offering things from gifts to health coaching. One of the organizers, Kristen Wells, says the fest welcomes everyone and hopes to see non-vegans enjoy it.
We're really excited to invite anyone who's interested about veganism, who maybe isn't vegan and doesn't plan to be, but wants to just experience something different. Again, all of the food here, whether you're vegan or not, I think everyone will find something they like.
Vegan Fest will return next year with another lineup of vegan vendors and exhibitors. And this weekend, Madison Contemporary Dance and the Hitters Collective are putting on their annual Creative Movement dance concerts, highlighting the abilities of dancers from across the community. Event organizers hope the performances will let the audience witness the power of connection through dance. This weekend's concerts feature dances ages 7 and up. Each performance unites studio-trained dances like ballet and modern with street-style dances like hip-hop and krump to create innovative new works. CEO of Hitters Collective, Papa Kobina Bruru, is an artistic director for the concerts. He says they bridge more than just different dance styles.
All this came to be with just the idea of just bridging cultures, bridging communities, and offering an opportunity for individuals in the community to be able to express themselves through dance and movement, and then being able to pass it down to the youth as well.
You still have a couple of chances to catch the concert. There are 2 performances tomorrow at the Madison Youth Center. If you're interested, tickets are about $18 online at MadisonContemporaryDance.com. More news ahead tonight at 10. We break down how close we are to an end to the war between Israel and Hamas as we approach the conflict's 2-year anniversary. And later, hope this story inflates your spirits. The kickoff to a festival you'll have to see.
You're watching News 3 Now at 10.
We are a step closer to an end to the war between Israel and Hamas after both sides agreed to parts of a deal brokered by President Trump. CBS's Deborah Pata has reaction and explains what comes next.
This is the closest Israel and Hamas have come to making a deal to end the war since it began nearly 2 years ago.
Everybody was unified in wanting this war to end and seeing peace in the Middle East, and we're very close to achieving that.
Following the qualified response from Hamas, the president told Israel to stop bombing Gaza immediately. The Israel Defense Forces announced it would temporarily halt its offensive, but not all the guns went silent. 20 people were killed and 30 injured, according to rescue workers, after a strike on a home in Gaza City. But still, there was overwhelming relief for most Palestinians that an end may be in sight. This was the first night we felt a little safer, said this man. We've endured death in so many different ways. We are exhausted. Hamas says it is ready to release all the remaining hostages in exchange for Palestinian prisoners and has agreed to surrender governing power in Gaza. But it wants further negotiations on some of the other terms of the proposed deal and made no mention of laying down arms, a key demand. For Israelis whose loved ones are still in Hamas captivity, there is hope, but trust is in short supply.
I'm really trying to be optimistic regarding the news, but over the past 729 days, we've seen so many times that Netanyahu and also the Hamas torpedo agreements.
Deborah Patter, CBS News, East Jerusalem.
Switching gears, this is summer in the city. It's autumn. Dozens got out to enjoy Central Park in New York as they're dealing with their own round of summer-like weather. With temps reaching the mid-80s, there are increasing drought concerns as most of New York, northern New Jersey, and Connecticut have been labeled abnormally dry by the U.S. Drought Monitor. We've got our own bout of hot summer-like weather here, and lots of people were out there enjoying that today, Blaze.
Yeah, started Friday, continued today, and will continue into Sunday. Temperatures expected to only dip into the 60s tonight, about 20 degrees warmer than those low 40s where we should be at as we kick off October. Underneath clear to mostly clear conditions, winds still remaining out of the south. As I mentioned, the warmth continues into Sunday, a tad bit cooler than where we were today, but still likely many of us will get back into those low to mid 80s. Rain arrives starting later Sunday night, and it's going to be ushered in by a cold front, which is then going to cool us back down to where we should be for this time of year as we head into the middle of next week. No rain in the forecast until at least the evening onward on Sunday. So a very dry day expected. There's that low pressure system bringing that line of shower and thunderstorm activity. Thunderstorms aren't expected to be severe, and rain is not anticipated to be heavy either. There's not a whole lot of moisture during this time of year making its way this far north, so we're looking at moderate rain activity for the most part. That should wrap up as we head into later Monday evening. By Tuesday, we're sitting underneath more sunshine and cooler temperatures as our latest high pressure system follows in behind that cold front. So Monday, early morning showers and thunderstorms rolling through parts of southern Wisconsin. Again, storms aren't anticipated to be severe, and these are going to be moving from the southwest to the northeast. So a couple places, especially southwestern Wisconsin, we may be hit by a couple of these showers, maybe accumulating upwards of an inch of rain. But most of us will likely only make off with probably a quarter to a half an inch of rain at best. Again, this time of year, not a whole lot of moisture has made its way this far north. And this low pressure system, the bulk of the energy is into parts of Canada. Ideally, if we really wanted more of the rain to fall across southern Wisconsin, we'd want that low pressure system center to be a little bit closer to home. But it's going to be off into parts of Canada. And then the cold front, as it brings that rain activity, will also bring down some cooler temperatures. Cooler compared to where we have been, but still warmer than average for this time of year, even there on Tuesday. And then we're maybe climbing back into the 70s by the upcoming weekend, and the warmer than average temperature trend looks to continue through at least October 18th, possibly. We're looking at about a 70 to 80% chance of being warmer than average. Keep in mind, though, as we continue to make our way through October, our average high and our overnight low, that temperature gets cooler. So warmer than average, if, say, the normal high is 50 degrees, warmer than average is 51. So it may not be the 80s and 90s like what we saw, but maybe just a few degrees warmer than average through at least the middle of October. 60s return starting on Tuesday, but we're back in the 70s to end next week.
There you go. It's nice weather. Get on the balcony, read a book tonight.
Yeah, I've been reading this book about coffee.
You have been, and you've been telling us about it all the time.
Yeah, it's a very interesting book. Americans, we used to brew coffee in a really weird way, and to get all the coffee to like settle, we would either add like milk, well, not milk, eel skin or like fish.
How did you go from milk to eel skin? How did you confuse those two?
I got confused a little bit. I don't want to add either to my coffee, but we used to do kind of crazy things before, getting to where we are now. It's a very interesting book.
Yeah, it is. And I do not want to think about eel skin in my coffee, but
I don't think that tastes good.
It does not. But who knows? Maybe it's your new summer treat.
I'm not going to yuck someone's yum.
There you go. That's a good way of putting it. Thanks, Blaze. And still ahead in sports, the Brewers and the Cubs meeting for the first time in the postseason. What the Brew Crew has to say on taking the game home. The Brewers back on the field at AmFam Stadium today with the Cubs as their guest. Our Andrew Branshaw was there and tells us how the Brew Crew are feeling after the big win.
The history between the Cubs and the Brewers is well documented. They've played 456 times over the years, but all of those meetings were in the regular season. Believe it or not, for the first time ever, they met in the postseason today, where the I-94 rivalry rose to a new level. And AmFam was electric. The Brewers had the last week off, but there was no rust on the Brewer bats. It was all gas, no brakes. 2 on, 2 out in the first. Crew already leading 3-1, but they wanted more. Bryce Perkins shoots a liner back up the middle, and you can make it 4-1 Milwaukee. But they weren't done in the first inning. They batted around. Jackson Churio, who had already doubled in the frame, comes through with the bases juiced, bring in 2 more, and if the roof would have been off today, it would have blown off by this point. Milwaukee takes a 6-1 lead after just 1 inning. And in the second, Jackson wouldn't stop. The sophomore sensation with an infield single, that drives in another run. He was 3 for 3 through 2 innings, and the only bad news that came out of today was that he came out of the game with hamstring tightness. The Brewers come out with a bang and take game 1 over the Cubs, 9-3 the final score. And now we bring in our Nash Dara, and Nash, really the only way to describe this one can be said right here on this towel. It was some Brewer magic today, and the fans were a big part of that. We talked to the players, and they said the fans played a big aspect in that.
Yeah, 2 stadiums that separate each other by about an hour and a half. Usually sees a lot of Cub fans, 50-50 they kind of mentioned, but tonight it was all Brewer fans. And you heard it. I mean, us being here, it was loud, it was electric, and it was all Brewers from the get-go.
And of course, we talk about the good stuff here, but we have to talk about Wisconsin football too. They made their trip to Ann Arbor fresh off that bye week, needing a win, but it was no easy task headed to the Big House for a big-time challenge. And early on, it looked like they might do just that. They looked as good or better on that first drive than they have all year on offense. Marching down the field and scoring, Dylan Jones caps off a 12-play, 75-yard drive, spinning past a Wolverine, and it looked like all of Bucky's problems might have been fixed in the bye week. And while it did look much improved overall, they couldn't solve it all. Michigan responds with a score of their own. Justice Haynes to the house. The Badgers trailed by just 3 points at the half, 10-7, but in the second half, Michigan ran away with it. Wisconsin gets somewhat of a moral win, but in the books, it goes down as a loss. Wisconsin falls under 500, and they're down to 0-3 in Big Ten play, 24-10 the final score. Wisconsin can't get the win in Michigan, but the Brewers get the all-important Game 1 win in the NLDS. For Nash Dara, I'm Andrew Banstra, signing off from AmFam Field for News 3 Sports.
Andrew, Nash, thank you. We'll be right back with the final check of your forecast. Finally tonight, the Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta kicked off in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Due to the wind, the balloons were kept grounded on the inaugural day. Oh, that's kind of sad, but still an amazing sight for those in attendance.
Oh, that one's cool.
That with the brain, yeah.
Yeah, that's a bucket list. I definitely want to go. I was jealous. One of my friends was there today.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, he said he had a lot of fun. Hey, it's going to be windy here tomorrow. Plenty of sunshine back into the mid-80s before the cold front moves through later Sunday night and bring us some rain and cooler temperatures arriving on Monday.
Thanks so much for watching us. You can always catch us streaming 24/7 on Channel 3000+. Be sure to tune in to Weekend Mornings. Have a good night, everyone.